Folks, to another week of Elements of the Unknown. I am Jason McGray. I'm here with Justin Hume. We'll cut you off real quick. We're going to get right back into it because we were about to segue away from the Mothman and into space, picking up right where we left off with Justin's thought process. Go.
So they say that sound doesn't travel in space.
Right.
Okay. So they were actually able to document sound on, I believe it was, I want to say Saturn, the winds on Saturn. And they were able to actually document sound from, I think they were out near Venus or something like that. I can't. I had the video saved, and I can't. I don't know what the hell happened to it because when I went to watch it back,
Well,
the
they
video
weren't out
was
there.
removed.
They were using the James Webb.
I don't know. I can't remember. It described
Is it
what they were
relatively
using.
recent?
Yes.
So it's probably James Webb.
So they actually captured what a black hole sounds
Yes,
like.
that is from James Webb.
It is probably the creepiest
Yep.
sound that I've ever
Yep.
heard.
Sounds like the bowels of hell.
Oh, exactly what I was just about to say. You know how they have that deepest hole in Russia and it
Yep.
sounds like there's hell?
That got filled in, by the way. But
It,
yes.
yes, that's what it sounds like. I'm so glad that sound in space does not travel. So, and it's funny, there, a few years back, there was this eerie sound coming from the sky. Do you remember that?
So it still happens from time to time. Are you talking about
It's like a
the weird vibration hum?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been going on for a long time and it still happens every now and again. They say it's atmospheric and something hitting the atmosphere from space
Okay.
creates a hum, but sometimes I'm just not so sure.
I'm not so sure either.
I don't know, man. It sounds like something weird and eerie, like I don't know. It's odd.
I started going down.
There's YouTube videos. If I can remember to, I there's one coming out of like the forest in BC or Alberta or something. These
Mhm.
guys are in the forest. It's a really clear one. You can really hear it. I'll throw that one up, and it's from like 2005 or something like that.
So I started going down the path of, alien movies and space movies and stuff like that. So it started off with Independence Day,
Yep.
and most recently, once again, for probably 500th time, Interstellar.
Okay.
There is something about Interstellar that hits so close to me where I feel like it they're hiding a message within the movie. Like there's something that they have found that they're trying to tell everyone, but it's a message encoded. Not about how corn is going to be the last growing crop or how there's, this which I'm sure there is these other habitable planets that people are going to that are traveling through a wormhole and blah 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 blah. But maybe within those there is possibly some sort of message being told to us saying, "Hey guys, there's actually something going on. This is how we're going to portray." I don't know, man. For it's so tough to say. I'm obsessed with that movie. It's one of those movies that I can't. Maybe because it's I don't know how well done it is. A lot of people say that the ending was very poorly written. Just how it goes from like how it could be so realistic to then all of a sudden he goes to a what do they call it? A fourth dimension world or something like that, where time time doesn't exist, um, and it has its own laws. So when he goes into that big, and when he goes into Gargantua, when he gets sucked into that big giant hole,
Yep.
and he ends up behind the bookcase, and pretty well sees his self from the
Yeah,
beginning of the movie,
it's
and
a pretty trippy movie.
it is, and I don't know, man. There's been movies that have come out that have to do with aliens in space where I kind of watch them again and I'm like, something's weird about that movie. Again, maybe it's just a movie. It's just a movie. But some some people have a funny way of telling a story, or some people have a funny way of coming up with the truth and telling the truth. How do we
Well,
know that?
there's always been that speculation that movies come out and then few years later, like stuff happens, like COVID-19. There was movies about like viruses and stuff, and then
Yes.
all of a sudden it happens. And like there's been movies that kind of weirdly predict things that are going to happen. And then the conspiracy theories are like, oh well, the government's pushing Hollywood to make these movies to condition us and stuff like that. So then you start to see movies about like aliens and stuff, and then you're like, wait a minute, are they conditioning us for that? So
Yeah, and it's funny because Interstellar had nothing to do with aliens. It's just more so outer life. Um, they do mention the word they a lot. They are trying to contact us.
yep,
They are the one who sent this portal. They are the one who, but they never directly say who they is. They never say it. And I've watched it so many times and I've tried to see if they are conveying a message about who they is. They sent a they sent the wormhole. Well, how do you send a wormhole? I know that's not a question that you'll be able to answer, but
yeah, yeah, I know what you're
who
saying,
would they be to
right?
be able to send
Is
a
it well, and
wormhole?
this is goes hand in hand with a lot of stuff that we deal with. Like, who is they? Is it ourselves in the future figuring out a way to send us back messages? Is it the Anunnaki from Nibiru trying to control us? Is it people from ultra dimensions, extraterrestrials, Hollow Earth? These are all the questions we have, and where are these things? Where are these images? Where are these messages? So when you have a movie that just says they, because it leaves it to interpretation.
It's an open. It's like an open-ended question.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that question of, well, how do you feel about? That's an open-ended question because it's how you feel about that topic. So I think why the biggest question is what is out there?
Well,
And why that is the biggest question is because it's an endless question. We'll never be able to fully answer exactly what is out there because out there is so fucking huge.
yeah, I know it's massive, but you gotta think there's something out there. I don't know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but I do believe that eventually we'll see something.
I do hope so, considering not too long ago when COVID just before or just after COVID, no, just before COVID hit, the government came out and said, yeah, we've made contact with extraterrestrial life or something like that. Yes, there is aliens. They never admitted that they have aliens in captive. They were just very brief and quick about it. Like, yeah, we've made contact. Yeah, here's some documents. Blah 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 blah. They weren't. They were very dismissive about it because they had to release the files because the government is only allowed to hold this. What is it? It's something to do with something to do with legislation or something like that where they're only allowed to keep a secret for so many amount of years before they have to release the files or the documents about this said secret. And Alien, that's what came up. It came up to the expiration date like, hey, yeah, okay, we made contact. Okay, well, what's the contact? What did you guys figure out? What did you guys see? What do you have anything in captivity? Is there something in Area 51? Is Area 51 really only just a nuclear testing
Apparently,
facility?
apparently they have stuff all over the planet underground. They have aliens like there's apparently hundreds of sites underground where they
Like
have
mountains and underseas
where they
and
have stuff everywhere.
hmm
Did you know that there's a story about Mount Shasta? And in Mount Shasta, a long time ago, there was an explorer, and he found a cave entrance.
okay.
And he was exploring this cave entrance, and he walked this cave entrance, and it seemed to go on forever. And he was gonna stop, but he saw this light at the end of this entrance, of this tunnel.
Okay.
So he walked it for like kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. I think it was like 11 kilometers or 12 kilometers or something.
Oh wow.
But he kept seeing this light at the end, so he walked. And when he eventually got to the end of the light, it opened up, and there was an underground city underneath this mountain. And I
I
mean,
believe
like
that.
a mountainous city. And when he decided to go through it and explore it, he found skeletons of bodies all over the city. But the weird thing was, those skeletons were 9 feet tall. All the skeletons were like 9, 10 feet tall.
Oh, so there wasn't any living
Nope.
living.
But there was all these bodies of skeletons that were like they're massive, 9, 9, 10 feet tall. Like what the heck? So he left there. Apparently, there's all kinds of gold and riches and stuff and technology as well. He left there. He didn't talk about it for the longest time, and then he decided he was going to build an expedition, and he
Okay.
was going to go back there. So he built an expedition of like 150 people, and they were going to go back and go on this expedition to find that city again. He knew where to go. And on the day they were supposed to leave for the expedition, the guy that found that city never showed up, and he was never seen from again. Never. And you got to think, what was underground? What was that city? Why were they 9 feet tall? Were they Nephilim? Were they Anunnaki? Were they another being? What are these people living in this? These giant people living under the city, and why did the guy who found it disappear? Who's covering it up?
Because he
The
told one too
FBI?
many people, man.
The FBI covered it up. What is going on under? And that's Mount Shasta. That's
Man,
that's
that name rings a bell.
Mount Shasta. It's like you would have heard about it. It's military and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Lots of UFO sightings coming
yeah,
out of
that's
Mount
probably
Shasta.
where doing research of aliens and shit like that. Um, yeah, he definitely told one too many people. Inviting 150 people, and you're gonna tell me that each one of those people are solid? Nah, nah. One of those people knew someone and said, "Hey, I know this person. He's putting together this expedition. He found something." And those people that he told, they were like, he's about to blow our secret wide open. We can't let that. But why? Why do they keep hiding this stuff? You know what I mean? I don't understand why they keep hiding all these secrets. Why do they, like, what's so. Is it something that would change humanity for life? Is that why they're.
I, there's
Is that why it's an element of the unknown?
could be could be. Have you done any deep diving on like the stuff that Billy Carson talks about and like all the different connections that he makes? Like they're saying like the people that came to this earth like the Anunnaki, they had like a word for passing all of their knowledge and wealth off to, and that word it ends up translating to Rothschild. Rothschild. Who's the richest people in the world? The Rothschilds. Do they have the most knowledge and money and power in the world? Yes. Was it passed on from an ancient lineage of extraterrestrial beings? I don't know. Maybe. Is that why stuff gets covered up? Who knows?
Probably.
Who knows? Uh, I mean, I got stuff for Hollow Earth, but I don't want to deep dive on it yet because I want to do like an episode on that stuff, and that's why I want to stick with space. But it's hard to like when everything seems to correlate together for me.
And
It's
that's
very
I think
difficult to control it.
that's the tough thing is space. When we talk, anytime you talk about space or aliens or extraterrestrials, ultra terrestrials, XYZ, it's correlated and it's related to everything that happens here on Earth, man. Because there's been so many connections between once again the Greys. There's been connections with um, Hollow Earth and whether or not if it was aliens that came in and came to Hollow Earth and started humanity and uh, where are all these big creatures coming from? What are they a product of? Did they come from a different planet? And it's whenever you start talking about space, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna land back on Earth because something out there is tied with something in here, and
Yep.
something in here is tied with something out there. I understand that astrophysicists and astronomers and scientists and whatnot, why they have all these telescopes to look at. It's to study space, study asteroids and comets and meteors and meteorites and da 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 da, and look for answers.
Did you know that in sorry to interrupt. We talking about asteroids, it made me think of something. I don't want to forget it.
Okay.
Did you know that in 2029 there's going to be an asteroid pass by Earth
Uh.
in lower orbit than the satellites?
Oh yeah. So what? It'll be like what the size of what an apple in the sky or something?
No, it's the size of 14 football fields.
No, but how will we see it?
You just look up.
Well, you're not gonna look down.
You just look up. You're going to see it pass through the
It's
sky.
it's gonna look pretty big.
Yeah,
That's when 2029.
yeah.
Wow.
Crazy, craziness. And they're trying to convince people that it won't affect anything and it won't crash with the planet. Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, UFOs. I was researching National UFO Reporting Center.
Just wondering what you were doing on there.
Yeah, well, I wanted to bring up, I want to be accurate on stuff. So, uh, I knew that we were going to end up talking about UFOs and stuff. So I wanted to go on and see if there was any, because there's always recent reports
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And I was trying to look for what was recent. And then it occurred to me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to find out if there's anything recent in Ontario
Well, yeah.
because it's close to home.
Yeah, for sure.
And I found something relatively recent. I guess it's October 2023.
Okay.
So it's within a year. It's less than a year old. Somebody spotted a triangle-shaped UFO in Peterborough, Ontario.
No shit.
That's close.
That's very close.
To anybody that doesn't know, that isn't from this area, listening to this, it's like an hour or less away from where we are. Um, but they described it as this triangle with lights and stuff. And I was reading the report. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's pretty close to home. And as I scrolled down, they took a video on their phone. And I was like, okay, yeah, okay, there's a video of it. And I'm thinking, it's probably going to be the same thing you always see. A
Shot
CG,
with a potato 2.0.
yeah, and it looks like a CG doctor video or something,
Uh-huh.
right? And so I start watching this video. I'm like, holy shit, this looks real. This does not look like CG at all. You can tell this is not CG. And I don't know what it is they're filming, but you can see it clear as day. It's nighttime, and you can see that it's a triangle, has white lights at all three corners, and then like the rest of the lights underneath are sort of going like a reddish color. It's and it's moving forward slowly.
Okay.
It's really odd, and anybody can go on the National UFO Reporting Center website. You can just go on there and you can click on any report you want. You can organize them by date and by country or whatever, right? You can go on and look at it. You got to see this video, man. It's
I remember.
incredible.
I don't know why it just dawned on me. I remember. Uh, must have been just a wee lad, and I was watching TV, and I do remember at the time there was a lot of stuff going around about aliens because they were making all these movies about aliens because I think there were a lot of alien spottings at the time. And I remember my dad had flipped the news on, and there was something on the news about, oh, there was a lot of sightings of this, but they cut it over to a open quote, close quote, military base that showed, oh, we're working on this new special aircraft that people thought was an alien, but actually wasn't, and then showed them what it was. And it was like this spherical spacecraft or aircraft that they said was up in the air, but they don't have clearance to fly it right now to show us that that's what it was. So, of course, any sort of, and the reason why I'm saying this, any sort of footage, and I guarantee you, if that gets blown up and goes viral, whatever the case, down the road, because we know that's how it works. Some things go viral right away, things like that. Sometimes take time to get traction
Right.
and blow up and go viral. Well, if that goes viral and a lot of people grab onto it and say, "Hey, this is something," guarantee you down the road, CNN, CTV, all these big news
Sure.
broadcasters, they're gonna come out with a script and saying, "We seen this video was shown and blah 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 blah, and this is what it was," and then they give you some sort of bull crap because they don't want what I think what they're fearing is mass panic.
Maybe.
What happens if an alien comes? Well, we don't know. We don't know. That it's the same thing as we have our intentions.
You know what I think it is?
What?
I think the government hides it or tries to hide things about this stuff because I think that there's an understanding that if we as a society make contact with an extraterrestrial society, we could like what if okay, so I'm struggling here.
Okay.
What if extraterrestrial society becomes known with our society and teaches us how to travel without using fossil fuels?
Oh, there goes government's funding.
Everything.
Yeah.
The economies of the world
Yeah.
crash
Yeah.
because all the governments rely on fossil fuels.
What are we gonna do now? How are we ever gonna go on
Like,
vacation?
like we're talking no more gasoline, oil, nuclear, any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to use any of that. Where do they come by and they're like, yeah, here's a 0 point energy module. It creates energy out of the atmosphere. It costs nothing. You can power everything.
We're close to it.
Yeah,
Solar power.
and and the government is like screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so I do truly believe that, and I mean it's not that black and white. There's probably a multitude of reasons, but I think it all stems down to power and financial power.
100%. Because if they expose that there's an easier way to do things, it's almost like dad coming up to you and saying, "I see you've been struggling with this. Come here, son. Let me show you an easier way to do it. What you've been doing is okay, but there's an easier way."
Yeah, exactly.
So I guarantee you, not guarantee you, but I guess that's just my saying is I guarantee you. But if we've made contact with them and they've exposed their, their willingness to share their technology, and our government says, "Well, no, we don't want your technology because the way we're doing it is working," and then turn around and say, "Well, no, it's not really working because it's costing your you guys have this currency that you use to do this and do that, and you got to buy your way through life. You can save your kind so much of currency, and the government ain't gonna go through that. Why would they do that? Because once again, they're losing out on funding for all their extracurricular activities. You know what I mean? So it's what I was gonna say is it would be the same as if you and I hop onto spacecraft and find this planet, and we've been studying it for so long, and we want to help it out and say, you guys are doing this wrong. Let us help you out. But they speak a completely different language, and we go there and they speak like and they don't understand what we're saying. We could be like, hey, we come in peace. We want to share our technology with you. Well, they don't know what we're saying, so they're gonna shoot us the fuck down.
Yeah,
It's sick. They've openly admitted that they've shot stuff out of the
yeah,
sky.
yeah, we have. We shot stuff down.
What, last year? It was last year that we're shooting stuff out of the sky. Like, well, all of a sudden, finally, we're getting somewhere, and these peeps are showing their faces and showing their spacecrafts in our skies, and we're shooting it the fuck down. What the fuck is wrong with us?
I don't know. That's the government
I,
making the
I
calls.
wish I could. I wish I could ask the government what the hell they're thinking, but we all know that we won't get an answer from them.
You should ask them, and we'll see what they say.
Yeah, oh, sure. I'm sure that I'll get right back to you
Just be
with
like,
an
hi,
answer.
I'm Justin from Elements of the Unknown.
And they'll be like, "Oh my God, we watch your show all the time. By the way, you're shut down."
Yeah, the shadow ban. They shadow ban the show. That'd be something.
That's why we're losing followers.
We're not losing followers.
We're down from over 30,000 followers down to 29.5.
Oh, well, I assume that there's some attrition for
Fake
uh,
accounts and stuff
fake
like that.
accounts and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. We've been holding strong at 29.5.
Hell
It
yes.
slowly goes up and down a little bit, fluctuates.
And each one of you, each 29,500 and some odd of you, I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in each and every single week, because we've been releasing a new podcast every single week. And I appreciate you tuning into every single live that we do. Listen, I appreciate the support. It's fucking awesome, man. Love
I
it.
know some people that have gone through and listened to every episode twice.
Yeah.
So
I've gone back to a couple old episodes just to listen to us and cringe a little bit, like,
oh
ugh.
man, yeah, definitely cringe. We got lots of good stuff out there. We're gonna keep pumping it out.
Yeah,
We
man.
just don't have a schedule, so you're gonna get stuff as we make it and send it out.
Yep.
You've got a few more in the bank now, and we'll have a few more coming.
I mean, we got last week and this week that we're releasing, and then um, Jay is going on vacay. By the time this one airs, he will probably be midway through his vacation, and then by the time he gets back, we'll be ready to rock for another one. So we shouldn't miss any week, actually.
Yeah, we'll be able to. I'll have lots more to talk about too.
Yeah.
Some kind of crazy adventures in West Virginia. But until I get back from West Virginia, we're gonna cut this one and let you ponder more about space and aliens and sightings and what the heck is out there and what are we covering up and
If you guys have any sightings or any sites or anything like that that we could go
man.
to or anything like that,
Send it
send
in.
us an email at elementsoftheunknown@gmail.com. Post it on our page. Link us something, whatever. We're interested. We're willing to do the research on it. We're willing to look into things. Please send us, guys. We've asked you so many times in the past. Give us some content. Give us some whatever you guys want us to talk about. We're asking you that. Please reciprocate. We want to know what you guys want to hear. We want to.
Justin needs some love, man. Give him some love.
We need some love, bro. We
All
need love.
right, folks. Until next time, stay spooky.
Stay weird.